In the digital age, we've grown accustomed to threats lurking in software, viruses, and phishing scams. We build firewalls, deploy antivirus, and encrypt our data, believing we're safe behind layers of code. But what if the deepest threat doesn't reside in the software at all? What if it's embedded in the very foundation of our digital world, the silicon itself? Imagine an enemy that can bypass every firewall, every encryption, every operating system, because it lives below them all. This is the terrifying reality of hardware-level backdoors, an invisible spy woven into the fabric of modern microelectronics. For decades, our primary focus in cybersecurity has been on the visible, the operating system, applications, network protocols. We assume that if the software is clean, the system is secure. However, beneath the visible surface of code lies the hardware, the physical components that execute every instruction. This foundational layer is often taken for granted, considered immutable once manufactured. But it is precisely this blind spot that makes it the most potent vector for an adversary. A backdoor at this level grants unparalleled access, often entirely undetectable by conventional means. Think of it, a piece of malicious code, not stored on a hard drive or in RAM, but etched directly into the silicon of a processor or controller chip. It's not a virus you can scan for, nor firmware you can easily update. This isn't data, it's design. Such an implant can persist through reboots, operating system reinstalls, and even hardware wipes. It's a permanent, fundamental compromise that can remain dormant for years, only to activate at a critical moment. This level of persistence makes it an attacker's dream and a defender's nightmare. At the heart of this threat lies the hardware trojan. Unlike its mythical namesake, these aren't hidden gifts, they are subtle, malicious modifications to the circuitry of a microchip. These modifications can be as small as a few transistors, strategically placed to alter the chip's intended function. Their purpose varies, from leaking sensitive data, to creating covert communication channels, to disabling critical security features, or even introducing outright system failure. The genius and terror lies in their ability to operate beneath the notice of all conventional security protocols. To grasp the challenge, consider the scale. A modern microprocessor contains billions of transistors. A hardware trojan might add or alter just a few hundred, or even a few thousand, among them. These microscopic changes are often designed to be dormant, triggering only under very specific, rare conditions, making them nearly impossible to detect through functional testing alone. It's like finding a single, perfectly camouflaged grain of sand on an entire beach, knowing it might be a bomb. This sheer scale of complexity provides the perfect environment for stealth. The most terrifying aspect is their immunity to software-level defenses. Firewalls operate at the network layer. Antivirus programs scan for malicious code within the operating system. Encryption scrambles data at various stages. But a hardware backdoor exists before any of this. It can intercept data as it flows between components, before it's encrypted. It can directly manipulate registers or memory, bypassing the OS. It's a master key that works regardless of the digital locks you've installed, because it compromises the lock mechanism itself. The threat isn't limited to microscopic alterations within a processor's die. Sometimes, the backdoor is an entirely separate, tiny component, a grain of rice-sized microchip, stealthily integrated onto a printed circuit board. These discrete implants can monitor communications, siphon power, or even act as a wireless bridge to exfiltrate data. They are designed to blend seamlessly with legitimate components, often resembling capacitors or resistors to the untrained eye. Their small size makes them incredibly hard to spot, even during manual inspection. Beyond individual chips, entire printed circuit boards, PCBs, can be compromised. This might involve altering the board's traces, the conductive pathways that connect components, to redirect data or introduce new, hidden functionality. Extra layers might be added, containing clandestine circuitry not present in the original design. These alterations can be almost indistinguishable from a legitimate board without sophisticated X-ray analysis or reverse engineering. An altered PCB is a complete platform for covert operations, often requiring no changes to the primary chips themselves. How do these tiny threats come into existence? The fabrication process for semiconductors is incredibly complex, involving hundreds of steps across multiple facilities globally. Each step, from silicon ingot production to wafer etching, doping, and metallization, offers a potential insertion point for a hardware trojan. An attacker could infiltrate design teams, manipulate electronic design automation tools, or corrupt masks used in lithography. These vulnerabilities exploit the trust inherent in the globalized supply chain, making the very genesis of the chip a point of profound weakness. Hardware trojans generally fall into two categories: design time and manufacturing time. Design time trojans are inserted at the architectural or logical design stage, often by malicious insiders or through compromised CAD tools. These are arguably the most dangerous as they are baked into the fundamental blueprint. Manufacturing time trojans occur later, during the physical fabrication process, perhaps by an infiltrator at a foundry. While conceptually distinct, both result in a physically altered piece of silicon, a deviation from the trusted, intended design, making them incredibly difficult to distinguish post-production without detailed scrutiny. A hardware trojan isn't always active. Many are designed with sophisticated trigger mechanisms to evade detection. These triggers can be environmental, such as a specific temperature or voltage. They can be event-based, like a certain sequence of instructions executed by the host processor. Or they can be time-based, activating after a predetermined period or on a specific date. This logic bomb approach ensures the trojan remains dormant during testing and development, only to awaken and execute its malicious payload when deployed in a critical system, maximizing its impact and anonymity. The pervasive nature of the global microelectronics supply chain dramatically amplifies this threat. A single chip might pass through design houses in one country, be fabricated in a foundry in another, assembled in a third, and then integrated into a larger system in a fourth. Each handoff, each step, introduces a new vulnerability. This intricate web provides numerous opportunities for an adversary to intercept, modify, or insert malicious components without raising immediate suspicion. The sheer volume and complexity make comprehensive auditing nearly impossible for standard commercial products. Interception can occur at any point, during transit, at customs, or within an opaque subcontracting network. Counterfeit chips, containing pre-installed backdoors, can be introduced. Legitimate chips can be removed, modified, and reinserted, often with such precision that the tampering is invisible. Even seemingly innocuous components, like resistors or capacitors, can be replaced with subtly malicious versions containing miniature implants. The aim is always the same: to inject undetectable, persistent access into systems before they reach their intended, trusted environment. The globalized nature of manufacturing creates an inherent trust gap. Few entities have full visibility or control over every stage of their microchip's journey. Even major technology companies rely on third-party foundries and assemblers. This distributed trust model is economically efficient but security fragile. An adversary doesn't need to compromise the primary vendor, they just need to find the weakest link in the chain, a small, specialized subcontractor perhaps, to plant their seed of espionage. The entire system is only as strong as its weakest, most obscure link. Once a hardware backdoor is active, its capabilities are extensive. It can exfiltrate sensitive data, encryption keys, passwords, classified documents, directly from the hardware level, bypassing OS and software controls. It can create covert communication channels, allowing external entities to command and control the compromised system. Worse still, it could allow an adversary to completely disable systems, alter functionality, or introduce critical errors at will. The compromise is absolute, granting godlike control over the target machine. For national security, this isn't just a threat, it's a nightmare scenario. Imagine critical infrastructure, power grids, communication networks, military command and control systems, operating on hardware compromised by a hostile state. A hardware backdoor could provide real-time intelligence on troop movements, decrypt secure communications, or even remotely shut down vital defense systems during a conflict. This isn't theoretical, it's the ultimate form of strategic espionage and sabotage, granting an adversary an unseen advantage without ever firing a shot. This is why the integrity of military-grade microprocessors is paramount. These chips power everything from missile guidance systems to fighter jet avionics, secure communication devices, and intelligence-gathering platforms. A hardware backdoor in any of these components could render billions of dollars of equipment useless, or worse, turn it against its own forces. The stakes are literally life and death, and the security measures to protect these components are consequently far more rigorous and extreme than anything seen in the commercial sector. Detecting hardware trojans and malicious implants is exponentially harder than finding software vulnerabilities. Software can be scanned, decompiled, and monitored. Hardware, once fabricated, is a black box. Physical inspection requires sophisticated, often destructive, techniques. Functional testing might miss dormant trojans. The sheer number of components and transistors makes brute force analysis impossible. This is a cat-and-mouse game played at the nanoscale, where the advantage often lies with the attacker who only needs to succeed once, subtly, to achieve a catastrophic compromise. To combat this threat, advanced nations employ extreme national security countermeasures. These go far beyond typical quality control. They involve dedicated, highly secure fabrication facilities, often within national borders, known as trusted foundries. These facilities operate under stringent controls, with every step of the manufacturing process meticulously monitored and audited by security personnel. The goal is to minimize the number of hands touching the silicon and eliminate any opportunity for malicious insertion. Beyond trusted foundries, comprehensive supply chain assurance programs are implemented. This means rigorous vetting of every vendor, subcontractor, and even individual employee involved in the production of critical components. Components are often sourced from multiple suppliers to diversify risk. Every batch of chips might undergo extensive verification, sometimes involving complete teardowns and reverse engineering of samples. The chain of custody is meticulously tracked, ensuring no unauthorized access or tampering occurs from design to deployment. When a chip arrives, it doesn't just get plugged in. It undergoes microscopic forensics. This involves advanced imaging techniques like scanning electron microscopy, SEM, and focused ion beam, FIB, to inspect the silicon die layer by layer. Experts search for anomalies, unexpected transistors, altered doping profiles, or unusual wiring. This is a painstaking process, akin to digital archaeology, trying to discern the original, intended design from any subtle, malicious additions or changes. It requires highly specialized equipment and an expert eye. One of the most powerful tools in this fight is reverse engineering. This involves deconstructing a chip to understand its precise function and comparing it against its known good design specifications. This isn't just about looking for anomalies, it's about proving negative, proving that no malicious logic exists. This can involve chemically stripping layers of silicon and photographing each one, then painstakingly reconstructing the circuit diagram. It's an incredibly time-consuming and expensive process, reserved for the most critical components. While human experts are crucial, the sheer complexity of modern chips necessitates automated tools. Advanced algorithms compare the physical layout of a manufactured chip against its trusted design files, highlighting even the tiniest discrepancies. Techniques like formal verification mathematically prove the correctness of a design, ensuring that even if a malicious actor attempted to alter the design, it would be caught by these rigorous checks. This blends cutting-edge computer science with microscopic physical inspection, creating robust defense layers. Even more subtle detection methods exist, known as side-channel analysis. This involves observing unintended physical effects of a chip's operation, such as power consumption, electromagnetic emissions, or timing variations. A malicious circuit, even if dormant, might draw slightly more power or emit a unique electromagnetic signature. Analyzing these side channels can reveal the presence of a trojan without ever needing to physically dissect the chip or even activate the malicious payload. It's listening to the chip's whispers for secrets. Similar to side-channel analysis, hardware fingerprinting involves creating a unique, immutable signature for each legitimate chip. This can be based on tiny, unavoidable manufacturing variations that create unique physical unclonable functions, or PUFs. By comparing the operational fingerprint of a deployed chip against its known good baseline, any significant deviation could indicate tampering or the presence of a trojan. This method provides a dynamic, operational verification that complements static inspection. These extreme measures come at an immense cost, both in terms of time and money. Producing military-grade, fully verified microprocessors can be orders of magnitude more expensive than their commercial counterparts. The painstaking inspection, the secure foundries, the rigorous vetting, all contribute to a premium price tag. But for national security, for the integrity of critical infrastructure and defense systems, this is a price deemed absolutely necessary. The cost of compromise would be immeasurably higher. The battle against hardware backdoors is an ongoing arms race. As detection techniques become more sophisticated, attackers develop more stealthy and ingenious methods of insertion. It's a constant escalation, pushing the boundaries of microengineering and covert operations. The adversary is always innovating, seeking new blind spots and vulnerabilities in the ever-evolving landscape of semiconductor technology. This means security measures must continuously adapt and evolve, anticipating the next generation of invisible spies. Looking to the future, researchers are exploring radical concepts like self-healing or self-verifying hardware. Imagine chips that can intrinsically detect and even neutralize malicious modifications themselves, without external intervention. This could involve redundant circuitry, real-time integrity checks, or even AI-driven anomaly detection embedded directly into the chip's architecture. While still largely theoretical, such innovations represent the ultimate defense, a microelectronics immune system built from the ground up. Another approach is the advocacy for open-source hardware designs. The idea is that if the blueprints for critical chips are openly available and peer-reviewed, malicious implants would be far harder to hide. Transparency, in this context, could be a powerful deterrent. While practical challenges exist, especially regarding intellectual property and commercial competitiveness, the concept highlights a potential pathway to building trust through collective scrutiny, moving away from opaque, proprietary designs. While our focus has been on national security, the implications extend far beyond the battlefield. Imagine hardware backdoors in medical devices, autonomous vehicles, or critical financial systems. The potential for large-scale disruption, data theft, or even direct harm to civilians is staggering. As our world becomes ever more reliant on interconnected microelectronics, the integrity of the underlying hardware becomes a universal concern, affecting every aspect of modern life, from personal privacy to global stability. Ultimately, despite all the technological solutions, the human element remains a critical vulnerability. Insider threats, espionage, and human error can undermine even the most robust security protocols. A single disgruntled employee in a design firm or a corrupt worker in a foundry can plant the seed of a hardware trojan. This underscores the need for comprehensive personnel vetting, strong ethical frameworks, and a culture of security awareness across the entire supply chain, complementing the advanced technical countermeasures. Revisiting the physics, how small can these hardware backdoors be? Transistors today are measured in nanometers. A small trojan might only introduce a few hundred extra gates. Given that a modern CPU can have tens of billions of transistors, a trojan representing less than 0.0001% of the total design is practically invisible. This microscopic scale makes traditional optical inspection ineffective and pushes the limits of even electron microscopy, allowing malicious logic to hide in plain sight amidst the dizzying complexity. A critical aspect of detecting these microscopic changes is power analysis. Even a few hundred extra transistors, when activated, will draw slightly more power. This minute deviation can be detected by highly sensitive equipment. Attackers attempt to design their trojans to minimize power draw or hide it in the background noise, but clever analysis can often find these subtle spikes. This technique is non-destructive and offers a powerful way to profile the actual electrical behavior of a chip, compared to its expected baseline. Similarly, thermal analysis can be a revealing countermeasure. Active transistors generate heat. A malicious circuit, particularly one designed for complex operations like data encryption or transmission, will produce a distinct thermal signature. High-resolution infrared cameras can map the heat distribution across a chip. Anomalies in this thermal map, hotspots where none should exist, can be telltale signs of a hidden trojan, silently working and betraying its presence through the laws of thermodynamics. For military and space applications, chips are often radiation hardened to withstand extreme environments. This process adds layers of complexity, but also presents additional opportunities for tampering. Ensuring the integrity of radiation-hardened components is a specialized challenge, as any compromise there could be catastrophic, affecting satellites, intercontinental ballistic missile systems, or deep space probes. The very measures meant to make them robust against nature can inadvertently provide new hiding places for man-made threats. Consider the sheer scale. Billions of microchips are produced globally every year, powering everything from smartphones to critical infrastructure. The vast majority of these are commercial grade, with little to no advanced hardware security verification. This means that while military-grade components receive extreme scrutiny, the foundational technologies that underpin our daily lives, and even much of our economy, remain highly vulnerable to these invisible threats. The digital fabric of society rests on a potentially compromised foundation. The primary reason for this vulnerability is economic. The cost and time involved in comprehensive hardware verification are prohibitive for consumer electronics. Companies prioritize speed to market and low production costs, which often means sacrificing deep security scrutiny of the underlying silicon. This creates an economic imperative for vulnerability, where the market rewards speed and affordability over an almost impossible level of hardware assurance. It's a trade-off society implicitly accepts, often unknowingly. Who would invest such immense resources and expertise into hardware backdoors? Primarily, state-sponsored actors. Developing and deploying these implants requires national-level intelligence, advanced engineering capabilities, and deep pockets. The strategic advantages gained, intelligence gathering, sabotage, or pre-positioning for future conflict, far outweigh the significant investment for these nations. It's an arena of silent warfare where the battle is waged not with bullets, but with transistors. Just like software, hardware can have zero-day exploits, vulnerabilities unknown even to the manufacturer. But with hardware, these exploits can be far more devastating and difficult to patch. A discovered hardware zero-day might necessitate a complete recall and replacement of millions of devices, a logistical and financial catastrophe. This makes the covert discovery and exploitation of hardware vulnerabilities a prime target for nation-states, hoarding them for critical strategic use, knowing the targets are essentially defenseless. Hardware backdoors are the embodiment of advanced persistent threats, or APTs, taken to their logical extreme. An APT in software can be removed. A hardware APT is permanent, a ghost in the machine that cannot be exorcised. It maintains persistent, deep-level access, often for years, collecting data or awaiting activation. This makes it an ideal tool for long-term espionage campaigns, quietly undermining trust and security over extended periods, with devastating cumulative effects. While our focus is hardware, it's important to note that firmware, the low-level software that runs directly on hardware, acts as a bridge and can also be compromised. Malicious firmware can facilitate hardware trojans by providing the trigger mechanism or covert communication path. Conversely, clean firmware can be designed to detect hardware anomalies. The line between hardware and software blurs at this level, highlighting the need for holistic security that encompasses both the physical silicon and the code closest to it. Prevention starts at the earliest stage, design. Secure design methodologies involve using trusted electronic design automation tools, strict access controls for intellectual property, and multiple layers of design review. Formal verification during design can mathematically prove the absence of certain malicious logic. Even the very algorithms used to lay out the transistors are scrutinized for potential backdoors. It's about building security in, rather than patching it on later, a fundamental shift in approach. A critical countermeasure involves creating a golden image or golden sample of a known good, verified chip. Every new chip produced is then meticulously compared against this pristine baseline. This comparison isn't just about functionality, but down to the physical layout and electrical characteristics. Any deviation, however minor, triggers an alarm. This painstaking process is fundamental to ensuring the integrity of military and intelligence-grade hardware, making sure every component mirrors its trusted predecessor exactly. While new systems can incorporate these advanced security measures, legacy systems pose a significant challenge. Older hardware, designed before these threats were fully understood, might contain unverified components or use outdated fabrication processes. Replacing these systems is often prohibitively expensive and logistically complex, leaving critical infrastructure vulnerable. This creates a difficult dilemma for national security planners, balancing the need for modernization against cost and operational disruption. Given the global nature of the semiconductor industry, international cooperation is vital. Establishing common security standards, sharing intelligence on emerging threats, and fostering secure supply chain practices across borders could help mitigate the risk. However, the competitive and often secretive nature of national security and commercial interests makes such comprehensive cooperation challenging. It's a testament to the complexity that even shared threats struggle to unite competing global powers. The world of hardware backdoors represents a silent battleground, unseen by most, yet profoundly impacting our future. It's a war fought in cleanrooms, under electron microscopes, and within the intricate dance of supply chains. The stakes are immense: national security, economic stability, and the very privacy of our digital lives. As technology advances, these invisible threats will only become more sophisticated, demanding ever greater vigilance and innovation from those tasked with defending our digital foundations. Ultimately, the invisible spy forces us to reconsider the very concept of trust in our digital world. Can we truly trust the devices we rely on when their fundamental building blocks could be compromised? The answer lies in relentless verification, radical transparency where possible, and a continuous commitment to innovation in defense. It's a journey, not a destination, towards securing the microscopic foundations of our macro world. From the tiniest transistor on a silicon wafer to the complex web of the global supply chain, every element represents a potential front line in this hidden war. The unsung heroes are the engineers, scientists, and security analysts who meticulously pore over circuit diagrams, analyze electromagnetic emissions, and safeguard the cleanroom environments. Their tireless work ensures that the invisible spies remain just that, invisible, and ultimately, ineffective. Beyond detection, building resilience into systems is paramount. This means designing architectures that can compartmentalize damage, limit the spread of compromise, and recover quickly. Even if a hardware backdoor is successfully inserted and activated, a resilient system can minimize its impact, preventing total catastrophic failure. It's an acceptance that perfect security is unattainable, but a commitment to robust fault tolerance and rapid response is essential. As quantum computing emerges, it presents both new threats and potential solutions. Quantum computers could potentially break existing encryption schemes, making data exfiltration by hardware trojans even more potent. Conversely, quantum-resistant cryptography and quantum-enhanced sensing technologies might offer unprecedented new ways to detect subtle hardware anomalies. It's a leap into an unknown future where the stakes, and the detection capabilities, are radically elevated. Effective defense against hardware backdoors requires deep collaboration between government agencies, defense contractors, and the commercial semiconductor industry. Sharing threat intelligence, developing common standards, and investing in research and development together is crucial. No single entity can solve this problem alone. This partnership is vital to build a truly secure digital foundation for everyone, from the individual consumer to the most sensitive government operations. Finally, this topic raises profound ethical questions. The very techniques used to detect backdoors could also be used to create them. The power to compromise hardware is immense, and its responsible use requires robust ethical guidelines and oversight. Who watches the watchers? Ensuring that defensive capabilities are not misused for offensive purposes, or for mass surveillance, is a critical moral challenge that parallels the technological arms race. The invisible spy, embedded within our silicon, is a testament to the sophistication of modern espionage and the fragility of our digital trust. It's a threat that demands constant vigilance, unparalleled innovation, and a collective commitment to securing the very bedrock of our connected world. We may not see them, but they are there, a silent reminder that the battle for digital sovereignty is fought at the most microscopic levels.